We are delighted you chose to be with us today, and we want you to have a wonderful experience. Please be assured your safety as well as your enjoyment of the event are our utmost concern. Please take a moment, look around, and identify the nearest two exits. Whether in a virtual setting at your home or physically in some formal venue, we must always be emergency ready. So please identify two exits in your current location in the event it is necessary to evacuate quickly and orderly in case of the need for an emergency evacuation. Also, as we strive to continue to stay safe and healthy, please follow the latest guidance from the CDC. Remember to wear your mask when necessary and wash your hands regularly. Greetings, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by the Pittsburgh Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Before we begin, I will be providing a few housekeeping items for our event. All lines have been muted, and to eliminate interruptions, all participants will remain in listen-only mode. If you have any questions for our presenters, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A pane that can be located via the bottom of your Zoom window. Questions will be addressed during the appointed time. We hope you enjoyed today's webinar, and now I'll turn it over to our chapter leadership for welcome and introductions. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to our Entrepreneurship Mindset series. The purpose of this series is to provide entrepreneurial best practices to beginning and emerging business leaders in the Pittsburgh metropolitan area. The DST Pittsburgh Alumni Chapter will offer 5 weekly sessions. We offered them on October 24th, all the way through the 21st of November. And you're invited to learn ways to build brand funding opportunities and business tips. Our sessions that we have had were October 24th, November 1st, and today, November 8th. On November 14th, it is on a Tuesday, we will be talking about grant writing opportunities. So the next person that you will hear from will be Desmond Crump. He will be talking about business infrastructure, and we'll also be talking to Kevin Markowitz, who will be talking about tax and insurance services. So I think we're going to start with Kevin first.
Good evening. How you doing, everybody? My name is Kevin Marquez. I'm the owner and operator of Accutax Business and Financial Services, where we offer tax preparation services for businesses as well as individuals. And we also offer business startup and incorporation for businesses to get incorporated and structured in the most advantageous way for them regarding taxes. And a few things I want to talk about with you today besides tax business. The tax season, we know tax season is from January to April, but with business taxes, you can file your taxes at any time during the year. But in light of open enrollment, I want to share a few things with you all. First of all, about health insurance. A lot of entrepreneurs operate and they don't have health insurance because they don't understand the options that they have available to them for health insurance. So I offer health insurance for individual business owners as well as small employee groups. So if you have small groups, I can also assist you with small groups, and that's in interstate. I can offer the plans in interstate, and I'm contracted with a few different carriers. A few notes, a few things that you need to know. Open enrollment has started on November 1st, which was last Wednesday, and it goes until December the 15th. So anyone who selects a plan from November 1st to December 15th, your coverage will start on January 1st, 2024, and it will last all the way until December 31st, 2024. Another date that's important for you to know is that on December 15th to January 15th, that's the window that's open for you to change your plan. If you select a plan and you decide to go to a different plan, you have that month from December 15th to January 15th to change your plan. And if you change your plan during that time, the coverage will start on February 1st, 2024. All right. In addition to health insurance, because most health insurance is not going to pay for everything that you need financially if you have an unexpected life event. So the first thing I want to mention to you is disability. Talk about disability. A lot of business owners, we open our businesses with our own savings and our own money, but we never seem to think about the hard times. Like if life happens to all of us, and we can you can run into disability at any time, because 90% of disabilities are caused by illness and 10% is caused by accident. So if you had an illness or accident and you wasn't able to work or run your business, then you can get up to 68% of your income replaced during that time. And short-term disability will cover that income replacement from 13 to 26 weeks. So that can give you up to 6.5 months of coverage for short-term disability, and you get 68% of your income. That can keep you going until you back up and running, until you can get back to work. Another form of disability I want to mention is long-term disability. Long-term disability kicks in after the short-term disability. So if you're still disabled and unable to run your business or work after the 6 months, the long-term disability will start to pay you benefit, and you select your own benefit amount. And the long-term disability can pay you from after 6 months, and it can pay you up to a 5 year. The products that I have can pay you up to 5 years disability. So if you if your disability is that severe and you can't get back to work, it wouldn't be a need for you to stress and be rushing to get back to work, because you'll have all the coverages that you need to make sure that you can just focus on staying healthy. Another form of insurance that I want to talk about also is critical illness. Now that's a real important one, because disability, 90% of disability is a result of illness. But if it's a critical illness ranging from cancer, kidney failure, paralysis, and other disease along that line, there's also critical illness insurance coverage that you can get. And the way it works is it pays you a lump sum. You can choose a lump sum between $5,000 and $500,000, depending on your budget. And as soon as you are diagnosed with one of these illnesses, you can get the lump sum benefit to pay for any amount that your health insurance is not going to cover, because 9 times out of 10, your health insurance is not going to cover every expense that you have related to your illness. So that's another coverage to have, especially for business owners, because you can sit back and you can just watch your business still perform without you, even if you had to pay someone else to run the business while you were out, and also pay your personal bills. You can use the money for anything that you need to use it for. So it's a great coverage to have and just to be made aware of, because I hate to see when people lose their businesses because they have lack of funding during the downtimes, like such as illness or disability. All right, with disability insurance period, long-term and short-term, you have different waiting periods, and the waiting period just dictates the price of the coverage that you're gonna get, but the waiting period just basically states how long do you have to be disabled before the benefits start to get paid. And the waiting period start at as low as 0 days for accident and 7 days for sickness. So that means that if you got into an accident today and you called your insurance company today and I made a claim on that policy, you would get paid today. And for a sickness, you would have to be sick for 7 days before you can start selecting those benefits. So if you were on a job with those 7 days for the illness, you would have to use your personal time from your job for those first 7 days until the disability kicks in, and then you can kind of just focus on being well from that point. Another insurance that I want to plan that I want to introduce to you all, to most business owners, and most people are unaware of an insurance concept called business overhead expense. Business overhead expense insurance covers the bills for your business, not for your personal responsibilities or your personal bills, but just for your business. And the way it works, you select the plan. The plan can be customized to the amount of your choosing. And the way it works is if you're on disability, You can be collecting your short-term disability or your long-term disability. That's going to replace your income. And with the business overhead expense insurance, what you do, you will pay your bills and your operating expenses for your business as you normally would, and then you would submit your receipts to the insurance company and they will reimburse you. And the reason why it's done like that is to make sure that the money is being used to actually keep the business running. So you will get paid. You just have to make the payments first and get reimbursed. And based on statistics, 1 in 4 business owners will become stricken with some kind of illness during their working years. So that's another good thing for you to have as a backup plan to make sure that your business can stay afloat if you have any type of adverse situation. All right. Another thing I want to talk to you is about is what's called life insurance with living benefits. So the type of life insurance products that I have is really called life insurance. It's really used for life. You can use the benefits while you're living. So it's called living benefits because just as the critical illness insurance works and the disability, if you get diagnosed with any kind of critical illness or have any kind of critical injury, where it's due to a car accident, it can be a slip and fall that causes head trauma or anything severe along those lines, you can accelerate up to 50% of the death benefit of the policy to take care of you while you in that downtime. And then you can always go back later and get it increased back up to the original level. So it's made for emergencies. So just let me paint a picture for you and say that just say if you would go to the doctor and you get an unfortunate diagnosis with some form of cancer, whether it's breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, and you go through your treatments and everything, and just say your medical insurance pays for 80%. So the 80% that the medical insurance pays for gonna leave you with 20% of the remaining bill to pay for yourself. And let's just say that 20% of that bill is $25,000. So if that's $25,000, that's where the critical illness insurance can come in. And if you have a lump sum of $25,000 or more, you can pay that off and you can have money left to do whatever else you need to take care of during that time. And the life insurance with living benefits works the same way. Because just let's say if you have a $150,000 policy, you accelerate 50,000 of it, you can get that 50,000 in your pocket to do whatever you need to do in conjunction with the critical illness insurance. And this works for employees as well as business owners. So every plan that I'm discussing applies to business owners as well as employees. It's just for the business owners, it gives you more flexibility to customize it based off your income and your expenses. Because if you're working on a job, you're not going to have expenses. All you need on the job is to replace your income, and you can still get the benefit, but you wouldn't need the benefit of the business overhead expense insurance because that's only strictly for business owners because you have to be using the funds to cater to take care of your business need. All right, and so let me finish painting that picture for you all. So just say if you're a business owner and you get a cancer diagnosis, or if you have kidney failure, because everybody genetics are different and family history is different, and you stuck with a $25,000 insurance bill, well, the income that you're making for your business can be replaced up to 6 to 8% with the short-term disability, and as well as long-term disability if you disabled for more than 6 months. Now, with the long-term disability is very customizable because you can pick a benefit amount for disability up to the amount that you can afford. So just say if you pick a $5,000 a month benefit, you'll get paid $5,000 every month that you're disabled. You get it on a monthly basis. But I have a product for business owners called Safeguard 360. And the Safeguard 360 is a combination of a death benefit if you die due to your illness. It gives you 50% of that benefit set aside for long-term care, and you get a disability benefit, payout benefit for it. And a disability payout benefit doesn't take away from the death benefit. So that's a good coverage that I have for all business owners that's age 50 and under. And then I also have another long-term plan called Century Plus. That's for anybody from ages 51 to 65. And most disability policies are not going to cover you after 65, because that's when after 65, that's when people get on Social Security or disability from the government at age 65 because they qualify for it. And I see another question in the chat. What's the minimum that's needed for benefit? All right, so the minimum just depends on what kind of income you're trying to replace, because disability insurance is really income replacement. You're trying to replace your income. So if you have to, just say if you bring in $10,000 a month on your income from your business, then the 6 to 8% will represent $600 to $800. So it's just based off the amount that you choose for your benefit, and it depends on the waiting period. Because the longer time you wait for your benefits to start paying, the premium will be less. The shorter time that you wait for the benefits to start paying, the premium will be a little more. But it's all based off your income. So I hope I answered your question in full detail. All right, and then another thing I want to mention also is with the life insurance with living benefits, I have personal stories to go along with the products that I sell. Now with life insurance with living benefits, I had a client that purchased a policy, life insurance policy from me like about 4 years ago, and about 2.5 years into the policy, she had a breast cancer diagnosis, and she was able to accelerate up to $40,000 of her policy. And so she didn't have to worry about working. She was able to pay her bills. She recovered because she was able to focus on recovery. And she even took a trip to Africa. That's something that she always wanted to do, but she had the funds to do that with, because you can use those funds for anything that you want to use it for, because it's your money that you're putting aside for yourself that you can use for emergency. And another story that I have is like on the other end of the spectrum. I also had a former colleague that inquired about critical illness insurance because she had a history of cancer, and her father had just had passed away from cancer. So she wanted to get a critical illness policy in case she was diagnosed with cancer. Well, the way the policy works is you have to have the policy for 30 days in order for it to pay. And 30 days is not a long time at all. But when she called me to inquire about the policy, it took her 3 weeks to actually sit down with me and get enrolled in the policy. And unfortunately, she went to the doctor 25 days later, 25 days into her policy. She got diagnosed with a lump in her breast that was cancerous, and she couldn't get the payout, the $75,000 payout, because she had to have the policy for 5 more days. So like the best way to approach it is to get it now while you have a chance to get it. So if something unfortunate happens, you can be prepared for that event, because she dropped the policy because it didn't pay. But I mean, if she'd have had it for 6 more days, she'd have had $75,000 more in her pocket that she could have used to recover. Now she did recover from the cancer, but she just had to pay a lot of out-of-pocket costs. All right, any questions? Any more questions?
Thank you, Mr. Kevin Marquez, for of Accutex, for the wonderful information that you shared. Just really amazing information about opportunities for people to be able to save their businesses in the event of unexpected incidents. And we're going to have a lot of questions for you. But before we go into the questions, I'm going to take a moment and we are going to recognize our participant winner of the week. And we're very happy that we have people participating. And so the winner this week is Janique Parkinson. And yay! So she is going to receive an Amazon gift card. Many of us probably wish we were her right now because we all love to order from Amazon. So congratulations, and keep coming and share with friends. So we appreciate you being a part. So going back to our questions, so many of us probably never thought about short-term, long-term critical illness and all that. So just amazing. I've never even heard of life insurance with living benefits for emergencies and that type of thing. So when you think about your business and how you got started,
Can you just tell us what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had as an entrepreneur and that you think entrepreneurs have in starting their businesses?
But the biggest challenge I had with my business, the first big challenge I had was I opened my business in my own neighborhood that I grew up in New Orleans. That was my first tax office, and it was kind of hard. It's kind of funny, but it was kind of hard to get the people that I grew up with to support my business. So I had to do a whole lot of marketing. I was in between. I was in between a H&R Block, a Fast Tax, and a Jackson Hewitt, and mine was in the middle. So I had to kind of be kind of slick with my marketing techniques to try to get people to come. So what I would do is H&R Block used to they used to use color coded flyers every different week and put it like on people car windshields and pass them out. So every time they switch colors, I would use the old color. So people would think it's H&R Block and it's still H&R Block, and I'll get them to come into my office that way. And then I had to branch out to other neighborhoods. So at that time, 95% of the clientele that I had came from other communities outside of the one that I grew up in. So after I got that started in 2003, in 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and I had to move to Atlanta, and I lost 95% of my clientele base because everybody was just all scattered out. So when I moved to Atlanta, I had to come to Atlanta and prove myself to the people of Atlanta that I was coming to do good business in Atlanta. So I had to build my business up. So I had 100, at that time, I had 115 customers for my tax business, and I lost 95 of them. So I came up here with like 20 customers, and I had to just build it all the way back up in the Atlanta area. And the one way I did it was just doing some person-to-person marketing on the phone, just going to every place I went to, passing out my business cards. But I started substitute teaching in the school system, and I started recruiting some of the teachers, and they would refer people to me. And then from there, it just kind of took off for me like that. So by the time I got my insurance license, I was already established and I already had a warm market because I had so many tax customers that needed insurance. So they was kind of hand to hand. So the clientele from my tax business turned into clientele for my insurance business.
Oh, wow. It seems like you did some really creative things, and both New Orleans and Atlanta, I'd imagine, are very competitive markets.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
So is there anything that you feel you did to set yourself apart from other people like you who wanted to make it in that same field?
Yes, I do a number of things to set myself apart. Well, because first of all, I do free consultations because I mean the market that I serve, I don't have a lot of high income customers. I do have some business customers with business taxes, but I don't try to take advantage of people and charge them more money than they can afford, because if they're coming to me for my help, I just help them out. I mean, sometimes all of them don't or spend their money with me, but I do give them the knowledge that they need to make a proper decision. And I'm always available for my customers year round. So it can be like right now, I just got off the phone with one of them earlier that needed some assistance with some taxes I had prepared in a prior year. But I'm always there for them because in Atlanta, the main thing in Atlanta is it's a lot of scams and schemes going on. That's just like anywhere else, but it's like it's real rapid out here. So you got people, I may get a customer that has someone to do file their taxes in previous years, and they getting $20,000 refund. I'm like, that's not even possible for you to do unless you got $1 million deducted from your check for withholding. So I kind of educate them on things like that, and I don't always deal with those situations because I don't want my name attached to it. If the IRS come down, I don't want to be involved in something that I don't know about. But I do kind of give them the guidance that they need to be able to make a better decision going forward. And I also attend various marketing events. I'm always at marketing events. I get me a vendor table and I do my setup and I just pass out my cards and I have flyers and I just provide people with the knowledge that they need. And if any one of my services are needed by them, then they'll call and then we establish the partnership like that. So that's the kind of thing that I do. But I do realize that for me, it's different stroke for everybody. But for me, I'm better marketing in person than online or anything like that. I mean, I'm not the youngest person in the world, so I'm not one of the technology. I'm not from the
Understood.
technology generation. So I may think I may have a good advertisement on social media or something, and I can get want anybody younger than me to look at it, they're like, oh, this ain't gonna work. This not gonna get it right there. But to me, I'm thinking I did a whole lot because it took me so long to do it. So one of the things I do, if I need to do some kind of social media advertising, I would refer to somebody that's younger than me that knows that space, and I just get them to help me with it and just pay them to do it like that. Because I mean, that's their lane. That's more of their lane than it is mine.
Well, it sounds like you are using other experts. You are hustling very hard, and you are also staying in tune with your ethics and your morals and your integrity as you serve your clients. And I want anyone who's attending to know that you can put some questions in the Q&A, and we are happy to answer any questions that come up, and we're going to keep rolling. Can you talk a little bit about how people start their businesses, the money? How did you obtain funding to start your business?
Oh, no, see, that's the question right there, because that is a challenge for everybody. So the way I obtained the funding and shit, my story is quite unique. I was riding in the car with my brother one day in New Orleans because I had just started going to real estate school. So the savings that I had, I pretty much spent it, trying to go to the real estate school. So we were going to a wing shack to get wings to eat, chicken wing. And I saw a sign outside of a tax place that said they had a tax course for $79. So I said, I got $79. If I don't have nothing else, I got 79. So I just went to the office. I paid for the course. And once I paid for the course, I went to the course and I completed it, and come to find out from the director of the course, the owner of the business, I was the first man to ever complete his course. All the men that took his course in the previous years, they dropped out. So he kind of took a liking to me for that. So I started working in the office with him when tax season started. And 3 weeks into the tax season, he had someone running another office that was doing some fraudulent thing. So he had to remove that person from the office, and that was the main central office. And just think, with 3 weeks of experience, he put me in the central office.
Wow.
And he told me not to call him all day, just figure it out, because I was smart enough. So I was online with the tech support from the software company and the IRS. So I had to kind of feel my way through it. And after that, for the next 2 years, I was running his main office after I proved myself with those 3 weeks. So that was my story with the tax side. Now with insurance, insurance was always something that I wanted to get into, because I watched when I was growing up in the neighborhood, those sharply dressed thieves used to come in our neighborhood and sell burial policies to basically everybody in the neighborhood. And when somebody passed, they think they got a big policy. They may have a burial policy for $2,500 that they've been paying off for 20 years. It was like a complete ripoff. So I kind of didn't like that. So I said, if I was able to educate myself enough to help my people, that I would. So that's why I got to the insurance business, so I can, sell better insurance and like clearly explain to people what they're getting. So that's when I bumped into the living benefit. I mean, I knew that was the perfect thing that I needed, because most people, life insurance, they wait till they die. I mean, if you're in the bind, and just say if you're about to get evicted from your house, you're about to foreclose on your house, and you need $10,000. If you can get them $10,000 out of that policy, you can get that. And I mean, you can increase it later, but you can't worry about death until you pass away. That that's gonna happen anyway. But if you living, you can still get those funds and keep your family moving in the right direction. So that was basically my whole reason for getting into insurance, to kind of educate my people on what needs to be done. And I can really say that my people in New Orleans, they've been stepping their game up and been calling me to get insurance, because something is always happening down there. And like, unfortunately, the first death claim that I had to do on a customer was a family member, that something unfortunately happened in New Orleans. And I was very glad that my people had that policy, because they was able to get paid without having the stress of doing a GoFundMe or having a card game or having to do a supper or anything like that. So they was able to really just grieve without having the extra stress of trying to raise the money. And I think after that particular death, that's when the phone really started ringing, because everybody was saying like, oh, you had insurance? Because most of the time they don't. And people just worry about it when it happens, but it's gonna happen. So it's better to just be prepared in advance than to try to get prepared once it's too late.
Sounds good. Well, it seems like in addition to your hard work, when you had an opportunity, you had a break, you really took advantage of it.
Yes.
And made the most out of it. And then when you got your business, you're using what you're doing to help other people as well. So tell us, what's the most rewarding aspect of starting your own business?
The freedom that I have. I worked from 2006 to 2016. I worked, I was 16. I worked as I was a math and business education teacher in middle school in the Atlanta area. I worked at charter schools and I worked at a public school for like 2.5 years, but I got kind of burnt out. So when I got burnt out, when I knew I was gonna leave, when I knew I was gonna retire, that's when I got my insurance license, and I started off in insurance doing enrollments. So I was doing a lot of enrollments, and the freedom that I had to do to travel and do those enrollments, I really loved that because the enrollment company sent me to. I'd been everywhere from Birmingham to Cincinnati to Boston for weeks at a time with everything paid for, and I'm making money. So I'm seeing different parts of the country. I'm working. I'm meeting different people that can also be clients in my business, because on the enrollment, you can't talk about insurance while you're on the enrollment with the company, but I can talk about taxes with the employees. So like I may be set up in a big hospital or a big hotel, and I'm servicing all the employees, and I'm able to get the word out about my business to them. So I think just the freedom of it is big for me, because working in the school system, you stuck in the building all day. You can't go nowhere till 4 o'clock. You got to be there for 7:30 in the morning. You'll get a holiday when you get a holiday, but I was the dedicated teacher who left with 30 days, still 30 days I couldn't get paid for, 30 days of vacation time that I never took, because I was always at work every day, and I was working extra in the evenings to help the students tutoring. And I was also going on every Saturday from 9 to 1, in addition to what I was doing during the week. So it was taking a lot of energy and a lot of time. So I had to regain my freedom. So that was the main thing for me, to be in control of my own schedule, because I just feel like at the age I'm at now, I don't need nobody else controlling my schedule, because that's working towards what their goals are, and it's not working towards what my goals are. So I can do a little bit here and a little bit there, but I'm just not trying to give all my time to one thing all day, because every time I do that, I miss out on something.
Yeah. That freedom sounds wonderful. Sounds like you stopped doing something that was driving you crazy, and you started doing something that you love, which is with your business. And speaking of your personal life, how do you balance your work and your personal life?
Well, I balance it. I have a life coach, which is called a fiance. That's all she talk about. I need to balance. You need to balance. You need to balance. So I hear the word every day. I hear the word every day. If I'm on this computer for too long after this webinar, she gonna come talking about balance then. So look, I got that coach in my ear all the time, telling me about balance all the time. Because I work it. If I had to, if it was up to me, I would work every day, all day, because I just believe in that. While I'm still young enough with the energy to work, I might as well do it. You know, the work that I do is not blue collar, it's white collar work. But at a certain point, everybody get tired of working, and you want to just sit back and just enjoy those retirement years. So I just said the more momentum I can build right now, I can have that time when it's time for me to stop, for me to just sit back, and I can let somebody else run it and just, make what I can make off them, like get a percentage off of whoever I train. But I got to finish putting the work in to make sure I get that established, because if they don't see me achieving it, they're not going to believe in it either. So I got to kind of set the example for whoever is going to come behind me, to run the business when I can't do it anymore.
So as far as an example, what advice would you give to someone that's just starting their business?
Advice to someone starting a business, what I would give them is, if it's their passion, if they're doing something that's a passion of theirs, to not quit, and don't let nobody discourage you, because most of the time when you come with an idea that nobody else has come up with, and it can be people in your immediate circle, they might try to shoot it down, call you crazy, tell you thinking too much out the box or whatever. But if you have a passion for what you're doing, stick with your passion, go through the ups and downs, and stay consistent in your pursuit of that success, and you'll make it. And then you got to stay, if people believe in God, I know I do, you got to stay prayed up, and, make sure that you asking God to guide you in the right direction, because you can easily get mixed up with somebody in business that could cause you to be out of business just as soon as you get in it. So it just you got to be wise and just stick to your plan, and don't let nobody discourage you. Because I know every time I started a business, it was always some naysayers, but I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And if I'm looking around seeing somebody else doing it, I don't think nobody else got more ability than what I have. And I don't compare myself to anybody, but if I see somebody else doing it in the same space that I'm in, what I do is learn a little bit from everybody. It can be a custodian I can learn something from because he may have a certain way that he approaches work. And that's not even in my field. So I take a little bit from everybody. And that's how I was in the school system, what made me a good teacher, because I learned something from everybody. I taught math and business education. I learned something from the PE teacher, the Spanish teacher, the science teacher, because they were still in my field. They was just in a different area of my field. So like you got to be a sponge and be always willing to continuously learn, and don't never get to the point where you think you know everything, because everybody can't do everything. And then when you really get busy in your business, you got to find some people that you can delegate some of them responsibilities to. And that's like a key of success is delegation. You can't be everywhere at the same time, and you can't do everything by yourself. So you got to kind of build like a strong support network around you, whether it's family or friends, or maybe it's some people that you can just meet at networking events that's in the same space that you're in. But the key is to just stay persistent and never ever stop. Don't give up on your dream.
That's some very wise advice. Tell us, where do you see your business at in, say, the next 3 years?
The next 3 years, I see my business as one of the top enrollment companies for worksite benefits in the Atlanta metropolitan area. And when I say that worksite benefits, that's everything I just named to you all during the open enrollment. So if an employee needs to offer benefits to the employee for the open enrollment session, I have medical, dental, vision, long and short-term disability, accident, critical illness, and life insurance, as well as legal shield. I offer everything. So if a company needs to get enrolled, I have the full suite of benefits that they would get from any other enrollment company. So that's what I'm working on, not trying to get into businesses, because I've been meeting a lot of people lately for businesses that I frequent. And I'm just finding out that nobody in there have insurance, and that ain't good. Like, because if an employee gets hurt on the job or something, that's gonna all be on the owner. So I've been trying to move into that space right there. So in 3 years, I think I should be well established in that space where I can make sure that I get as many people protected as I can.
Wow, it sounds like there's a need for the service that you're providing, and people don't even know it.
Yeah,
So
they don't know. See, that's the problem. Like in insurance, some people use the term what they call low hanging fruit. But I don't like that term because that's like a derogatory term. I grew up in the hood, what we call the hood. So I mean, that's like you calling me a low hanging fruit. It's not the people not low hanging. They just don't have the knowledge that they need to make a better decision. So I meet people all the time that say, "Oh, I never heard about this. I never knew we had that option." But it's just about you approaching them and giving them the information that they need so they can know that there are options out there for them and they can make a better decision for themselves.
Well, we know that in a successful business that you're not doing it all by yourself, and you probably have people working for you. And so how do you go about selecting employees? What are you looking for, and what's that process look like?
Well, for me, apart from the qualifications, everybody I work with, I have a relationship with them from a previous business relationship or personal relationship, because I know I can trust. Because like I said, I'm in a like in Atlanta, there's a lot of scamming going on. So I can't just invite anybody in. I made that mistake when I first came out here, when I was trying to build my tax business back up. I got kind of impatient and I kind of hired a couple of people, a couple of contractors, but they wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. Either they was being lazy, just walking around with a title, just to say that they was able to file taxes, but wasn't really producing any clients. And then I had one that was running around telling people that they was part owner of my business, and it really wasn't the truth. So if they was doing something negative, it was a bad reflection on my business. So I started to just rely on people that I knew, and even if it's somebody I know that don't have experience in the business, I'll be more willing to train them to help me, because I know they're gonna have my best interest at heart, than to just meet a stranger who might just be up to something for their own benefit. Because everybody's not gonna do right when they're supposed to. So that's my approach to that.
Sounds like trust is very important with the
It
people
is.
you work with. Yeah.
It is. I mean, if the insurance, if the Department of Insurance or the IRS come knocking on the door, I need to know what's going on. I mean, if it's for a mistake, that's fine. But if it's for something deliberate, I mean, stuff like that happens. Because I actually had it was about 6 or 7 years ago. I was getting ready for work in the morning. At 6:30 in the morning, the sheriff was knocking on my door with a subpoena for me to come to court. And it was about somebody who got my business information from somewhere and said that they were part of my business. And they got into some kind of financial situation and they were looking for me to come to court. But I had to explain to the sheriff that, man, I don't even know that person, never know him. I don't even know what this is about. So he took my word for it and he made note of it, and I didn't have to go to court. But if I wouldn't have been, on my P's and Q's, I'd have to go and stand in front of a judge for something that I knew nothing about because somebody stole my information.
Yeah, that's where that integrity and those ethics come in. So,
Yes.
This may be our one of our last questions. Everyone wants to know, what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? So what would you say are the top 3 habits that one has to form in order to be a successful business owner?
You have to be honest with your customer. You have to be available. You have to be knowledgeable. You got to be a specialist in what you're offering. You got to be knowledgeable of your product. You got to always educate yourself, and you have to do research to see what your competitors are doing to get the edge on you. Always got to study your competition. Now, you're never supposed to mention your competition when you're marketing, because if you mention your competition, you're just giving them free marketing. So you never mention them, but you can look at your competitors to see what they are doing, and then you just put your own twist on it and make it benefit your business. Because I know with me, everybody who I've ever worked for that's related to the type of business that I run, I learned what they were doing, and I turned to how can I do this for myself. So I kind of soak it up because I never had a plan to work for someone else for 30 years. So I just work for the time that I have to work, and I take something from them and I use it for my own benefit. So it's like being that sponge, like I mentioned earlier, always learn something every day, and just be persistent. Like take the good days with the bad, and don't never think one bad day gonna dictate the rest of your future in your business, because that one bad day can be backed up by 50 good days that can have you, make you just take off like a rocket. So you gotta hang in there and then stay surrounded by people who know more than you. That's what I do. I try to go into the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, that means you're in the wrong room. You got to be around somebody that know more than you, because you can learn. You can't really learn. You can learn from people that consider to know less, but if you get around people that's better than you, they're gonna take you up to the level that they're at.
That's a lot of wisdom. Well, we have really enjoyed talking to you and definitely have learned a lot of tips and advice for entrepreneurs. Is there anything that you want to leave us with? Anything we didn't get to talk about that you want to share?
No, I think I covered everything, but I do want to, did you want me to put my contact information in the chat? So if anybody need to reach out for me for any additional information, I could have gave them that.
You can definitely share that.
All right. I'll put it in the chat box. And what I would say is, if anyone is in need of any service that I provide, don't wait till it get too late to reach out to me, because it may be more affordable than what you think. Because I mean, I've written insurance policies on grown people for $25 a month, and they'd be astonished at what they can get for $25 a month, because they always think that it's something overpriced. I don't go into the door trying to sell people $1 million worth of insurance, because you have to have that in your budget, and it makes no sense to get something that you're not going to be able to sustain. So I try to provide all of my customers with something that's going to be very sustainable to them, so it could be available to them in the long run.
Thank you so much. Turn it back
Right,
over to Deborah.
Thank you so much. You gave us some wonderful tips on what we can do as entrepreneurs to get our own insurance. And I'm one myself. I have a small business and I have that insurance, and I didn't realize the scope of what it could do for me. So I'm sure there's some others that are on listening and hopefully taking tips on how to get insurance for themselves and employees. And I also want to thank you for telling us your journey so that we know we're not alone as we try to become beginning entrepreneurs or try to start our business or enhance our business. So thank you for your time.
You are very, very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So at this time, our next session will be on Tuesday, next Tuesday, November 14th. And during that time, we will be talking about grant opportunities. And we will have 2 speakers, and we also will have a spotlight speaker talking about, Marie sells photography. So we have some wonderful topics. Tell a friend. There's some wonderful things for us as entrepreneurs, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on behalf of Pittsburgh Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. Upcoming events, as you can see, there is going to be a bingo party, and visit our Linktree, scan the code that you see. And you can also see it on social media. And I hope you will join us. It's a wonderful time. Even though it's virtual, we have so much fun. We even did a little line dancing. There's bingo prizes and there's a wheel. So I hope you'll join us and get tickets for January 20th, 2024 from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And there's also a link for our Eventbrite. You can scan, as I said, for any other or for our next session, which is on November 14th at 6 p.m. It's on a Tuesday. So thank you for attending our Entrepreneurial Mindset series. Thank you. That concludes our session.